All right, guys, so we are here in Chicago, Illinois, doing the Naperville Half Marathon on Sunday. It's going to be the first half marathon I've ever raced. In your life, there comes the darkness. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that I tried to do a half marathon back in March, but it ended up getting rained out and canceled at like mile 10. So really excited for this, but before we get into it, let me catch you guys up on what's happened since we last talked. Back into my old ways again. When we last left off, just gotten back from a trip from Seattle and finished running a 15-mile workout just with 6 miles of work in it. And then the week after that was kind of the first time where I started to feel the fatigue. I had an 8x800 VO2 max track session, and I ended up just stopping after the third rep, and then tried running again the next day and just felt a little tired. And that's something where, you know, I feel I've grown as a runner, where I listened to my body, took the next day off, dipped the miles down that week to 35 miles, and then was able to keep going and moving back up. Like I mentioned, we're here in Chicago doing the Naperville Half Marathon tomorrow. I'd like to shoot for like a 125 to 126 range, but it's kind of a weird thing where I have heavier legs because it's just a tune-up race. I'm doing CIM in December. I don't really have any hard expectations. Technically, my half PR is like 129.30 or 40 or something in the Eugene Marathon. So I'd like to think I could shave a few minutes off of that and I've gained some more fitness. It's also good just mental practice for when you're in the actual race, because there's gonna reach that point where you're gonna wanna quit and you're just gonna have to practice toning out that voice in the back of your head. So that's what I view it as. It's not just practice fueling, practice lining up to the start line, and also have been carb loading, but practice for like the mental game within. Chicago, somewhere I don't really know. See the sunrise on the East Coast, see it set in San Francisco. I'll get high in Colorado with some folks I don't even know. Who knows where I'll be tomorrow? But I'm going to Chicago.
Is this your first race? 10K half marathon anyway, first time?
So this is obviously not the video that I thought I would be making, and I apologize for how long it's taken me to upload this. It's been like a month, but there's just been a lot that's developed since this half marathon that I've been waiting for it to all play out so that I can make this update video. With that being said, let's just start with the decision to DNF. You know, at first I was pretty gutted about it, beating myself up, but the whole reason I pulled out was because, you know, something just didn't feel right. I don't know how to explain it, but towing the line, it wasn't the weather at all. You know, I've run in far worse conditions. I did a half marathon. Actually got rained out because it was such bad conditions around like a high 640 pace a half a year ago. Pouring rain, horrible winds, high 60 degrees at the start, and was fine in that. And then the last marathon I did was, you know, like upper 30 degrees, winds and rain, and literally just a gravel trail the whole time that was just slushing up my shoes. And again, 705 pace for that, totally fine. Just going to the line, something didn't feel right. When we weren't fully tapered, but we did do a 40-mile week coming off of, you know, high 50-mile weeks, which is more than enough of a taper for a tune-up race for me in the past. I know my legs didn't feel right, even that shakeout run in Chicago, but I was just kind of trying to put it off as some mental issue, you know, trying to think that it wasn't a real problem. I basically was just going through the thought process of like, I probably shouldn't keep doing this. It feels off. This isn't my A race. I'd rather not get hurt. I know my body's telling me something and it's telling me that you shouldn't be doing this right now. So that was the decision to pull out of the race. Really, when we got back to my sister's house, who I was staying with, I was in some pain going up and down the stairs. This hip was just achy. You know, I was having to hold on to the railing. It just felt like something was pinching like a nerve in there. I don't know how to explain it. And she showed me this video that she got, and it was super weird because my stride, my gait was totally different. It was choppy. And I uploaded that to Strava. And one of you mentioned that you had noticed it in the previous video. So I went back and watched. It was there, but it wasn't nearly as noticeable. But then when I watched the Chicago footage, I was like, what the heck? That's totally weird. The right is just like hobbling along. But again, I wasn't in any pain when I was doing these runs. That's why there was no signal to me that something was wrong. So then I went back to around that last video, and you can see my average cadence when I'm racing is like high 170s at the most, normally low 170s on an easy run. It had gotten up to like the 190s, even 200s at some points, and that was progressing over the last month. So basically, I was taking shorter strides and compensating for something, obviously. Went to see Alec, who handles all my PT whenever something goes wrong with my body. Basically, we came to the conclusion that it was a pinched sciatic nerve in this left hip. And I tried running later that day with the exercises he gave me, and I shut it down after like 0.6 miles. This thing was just throbbing, and I limped back to my car and just rested the rest of that week. You know, tried to play it off that it was no big deal. Then I tried running the week after that, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It just kept getting worse. The efforts felt way harder than they should for those paces, and the cadence was still super high no matter what I was trying to do, mental cues. And I was like, okay, I'll just cross train for a week. That will put me at about 4.5 weeks out, maybe even 4 weeks from the time I'm filming this. Ultimately, I made the decision 2 days ago, like, I don't feel great. I haven't even really run. I'm not going to be stupid. I'm going to listen to my advice from earlier in this video and listen to my body and not force it even more. And just, I want to set myself up in a good position, not go into a race where I'm not feeling great, maybe irritate something, or have it become an actual injury like last time, which is exactly what happened when I ignored my body. So I made the decision. It was very hard to sell my bib for a second year in a row into the same exact race. And I know there's some of you trolls out there that you're gonna take a lot of joy in this, but that's fine. I mean, I'm not making these videos claiming that I'm an expert in running. I'm still figuring this out. I'm figuring out my body, and hey, maybe I can't hit upper 50-mile weeks, and I need to consider cross training twice a week and running 40-mile weeks. It's all a work in progress. I like making videos and I like running, so naturally I'm gonna combine the two hobbies. I'm not a pro runner. I'm not anywhere near an elite or sub-elite runner. This doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. It's just my hobby that I like documenting and you like following along with, hopefully, if you're watching this. That being said, the game plan right now is I still want to obviously hit the BQ standard. And to give myself the best shot to hit that standard, the best race I could find was the Mesa Marathon on February 14th. It was like the largest race with about 3,000 people. It's a pretty friendly elevation profile with a slow decline of about 1,000 feet of net loss. Should be great. Hits the BQ qualifying standard to not need to add any extra time onto it. The plan is to slowly get back into running and keep up the cross training until eventually I'm running more than I'm cross training. And this is about 14 weeks out now. So that's what the plan is over these next 4 weeks, to set myself up 10 weeks out to have a good cycle to build, to really, go into that feeling good. Not too long of a build. I know my body breaks down when I do that, obviously. So that's the plan. That's where we're at. Still going to keep documenting along. Again, apologies for the time it took me to make this follow-up video, but I appreciate the patience. I appreciate you guys viewing, and stay tuned for the next one.
You can't always get what you want.